Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Melissa, and I'm just gonna do this quick little intro for this video because I felt like, why not show my face? I feel like I never show my face on this channel. I don't think I've yet to show my face of me speaking. So here I am. This is how I look like. Um, yeah, but I just wanted to make this quick little intro just because this video is like a different video than what I typically would normally want to record. This video is me and my twin pretty much talking about life as a twin. Obviously, if you've read the title, it's just us talking about the pros and the cons. For part one, we're going to be talking about the pros and what it's like being a twin and the benefits of being a twin and stuff like that. And part two will be up as well, and that's when we're going to talk about the cons. So if you guys are interested, please stick around. And also, if you have a chance, please check out my short film, Guilty, which is located in the description box below. Feel free to check out my art studio, Solis Art Studio out in Redbubble, and also check out my Instagram. All of those links will be in the description box, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Talk to you soon. All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. My name's Melissa, obviously, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Melanie. She is my twin sister, and for today's video, we're going to be discussing the pros of being a twin. Melanie, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. Well, to start off, a few points that we want to get out is just a shout out to our older sister, because without her, we would not be as well put together as we are. Honestly, she took care of us from the beginning. And although we are talking mainly about being twins, we have to give credit where credit is due. So shout out to her. I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if I have her consent, but
yeah, shout out to
she
Big
is.
Sister. Shout out to Big Sister.
Definitely. And then we just want to emphasize that we are fraternal twins. And even though you guys can't see our face for this video, I just want to say that you can see it in the thumbnail. We look nothing alike. And honestly, I feel like I prefer being fraternal twins because honestly, it's easier to be an individual, which is something we'll touch base on later. But those are the 2 points I wanted to get out. Shout out to my older sister, and we are fraternal twins. So without further ado, let's get started. So like I mentioned before, we are discussing the pros today, and pretty much what we're talking about is the positive things that come with being a twin. So yeah, and right now I'm going to read off this sheet that Melanie actually built, sort of like a script that we have of like pros and cons. And for the first pro that's on the paper is the pros of being a twin is that you have a built-in best friend, and due to being the same age, we experience the same things. And even though sometimes the outcome may be different, it's sort of good because, obviously we're in the same boat together. So, and what I like to say and discuss by this point, because I feel like when I read this question, I sort of thought of the siblings who don't necessarily like each other. And I feel like I'm extremely grateful to like not my just like my siblings in general, but like most importantly like my twin, because we're like literally the same age and everything. But I don't know, Melanie, like I know that me and you both know we've seen a bunch of pairs of siblings throughout our life, whether they're twins or not, that just genuinely don't like each other. But like a question that I have out of curiosity is like, if we weren't twins, like do you think we would be friends? Yes or no?
I think that we wouldn't be in the same circle since we have different interests. So I believe that would be reason number one. But also I do think that we are just kind people and genuine people, so I think that would have probably brought us together anyway.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I definitely agree. I don't think we would have necessarily been like the best of friends. I feel like it would have been like, okay, cool, we have a class together or whatever. Because I feel like we are kind of different. Like, I've said this before, like, I was mostly involved in like the athletics, and you were usually involved with like the people who are mostly like, like music, like the underground type of stuff, like alternative things. you sort of like geared more towards that, whereas for me it was mostly sort of like, track and pep rallies and student council and all of that stuff, which is quite different. And although you did try tennis, you didn't necessarily like stick with just tennis. I feel like if anything, you like socialized a little bit more with like the people that were surrounding you. So honestly, I agree. I don't think we would have been like the best of friends, but I think we would have gotten along for sure.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback off of that, listed underneath, you wrote down having pretty much a guinea pig analogy, like one of us may be the first to experience something, and then we're able to give our twin like a heads up or a warning about something before the other twin experiences it. And I kind of agree with this. I feel like obviously sometimes you've experienced things before I did, and then there's some things that I experienced before you did, obviously. But like, what do you think about like being a guinea pig? Do you think it sort of like benefited us being that we had like someone else to sort of like experiment with, or do you think it made things a little bit more sort of difficult? Because I feel like sometimes when you like get to like sort of test the waters with one twin, I feel like it kind of like makes you less scared to try new things. But sometimes it's like if you know your twin's not going to do it and you're like the first one to do it, it makes things a little bit more scarier because you don't have like that person to like, you know,
Yeah.
like sort of like hang on to or whatnot. I don't know if I'm wording it correctly, but I feel like I kind of like having someone to observe before I do things. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely say I am not the guinea pig.
What do
Wait,
you mean?
am I the guinea pig? I'm
I would say you are.
saying I'm the first one
Yeah.
to do it, and then Melissa will decide whether or not she wants to follow. But
In regards to what? Because I feel like the audience might be like confused.
for example, since we love talking about our experience with school, Melissa had a finals to do, and I had taken that class like maybe 2 years ago, so I was able to give her some tips um, about like what I did for my final essay and to like warn her like how hard the class was. So I think that helped. Did it?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm taking the class and it is kind of challenging like you mentioned. I think it's pretty tedious in terms of like finding like data and stuff like that, but it definitely helped in terms of that. And I don't know, I just feel like in general like having someone to like sort of like ask questions and things definitely helped me. I guess like I mean, I can save that for the cons, but it definitely did make things a little bit more difficult in terms of like decision making because you don't really have like that person to like test the waters first, and sometimes it may create, I don't want to say a cowardness, but like a fear of like doing things out of not knowing how it'll turn out. But I feel like I'm managing it well because I've done a lot of things that you haven't necessarily done in
Yeah.
terms of like my artistic outlets, obviously with
Mhm.
this YouTube channel, my acting and all that stuff. I think I've pretty much been like the first one to really like step out and do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you graduated obviously before I did and all of that stuff. So I think we're able to sort of, you
Yeah.
know,
But
piggyback.
definitely, like, we have that guinea pig thing when it comes to having like the same interests. Because, like, for example, I'm not like in that artistic world, so
Realm.
like,
Yeah.
there's no guinea pig experiment in that way. It's like for school, yes. Tattoos, yes.
Oh, definitely.
Piercings, yes. I think hair, yes.
I didn't even think of that. That
Maybe,
was a good thing in terms of aesthetics. You definitely
yeah,
said a
maybe
guinea pig.
anything with like self-expression because that's what I'm into.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now that I think of it, I feel like we express ourselves in different ways. Like me, it's through art. Yours is like body modification. I just noticed that.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily like, you know, putting permanent ink on my body isn't necessarily like my go-to. If anything, I take years to decide like, on a design, and then I actually do it. Whereas for you, it's like, let me just do it. Me, I can't. I genuinely can't. I don't know. I feel like I will literally start crying the minute like I try to do an impulsive tattoo, and I just hear the zzz. No, I'm not built for stuff like that. But
It's
that's actually a
fine,
good
man.
point that you brought up.
It's
Oh, what'd you
fine.
say?
It's fine, man.
I know it's
Just
fine. I
drink
mean,
some
your
water.
tattoos fit you. If
Thank you.
anything, it makes us more of an individual, which is good. Being that we're twins, it's already hard enough. But that's gearing towards the con. So let me just stay on track. All right. And so the other point that we also have is never having to do things alone. For example, school events, parties, and being alleviated from certain social situations that we don't necessarily want to be a part of and stuff like that. So, what do you think about this? Do you think, in terms of us not doing things alone, do you think it like hindered us or we benefited off of being together like all the time, pretty much?
Um, we definitely benefited from being together all the time just because I think it probably brought us out of our shell a little bit more. Just because, like, when we have each other, like, I feel like I'm a little bit more extroverted
Aw,
with you, like, with me, as if when I'm alone, I don't really want to talk to people. So,
really?
um, yeah, yeah, so
Yeah, I
I
honestly
think that
haven't
answers
even like. Sorry, I cut you off.
I think that answers the question, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't necessarily think I've observed a difference when we're together. I feel like you are very extroverted when we're together. I feel like when we're like together in like a certain social situation, you are very like outgoing. I feel like in school, you're a little bit more like to yourself in terms of like the events we had to go to, but I feel like in terms of like family events, you were definitely more extroverted. I've noticed that a lot. I think you because I guess out of comfort, you sort of feel like I can do what I want. Like I can say what I want. Like you feel more comfortable, you know.
Yeah.
But for me, in certain social events, like I'm thinking in terms of like high school, because I spent so much time with those groups of people, I felt like I was able to sort of, I guess, be a little bit more extroverted, even though like we didn't really have the same interests. Because I low key wanted to be like an art kid throughout the entire experience. I feel like it was easier for me to socialize with them than it was to socialize with anyone else because those were typically the groups I was surrounded by during that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and I definitely would like to preference. We are talking about high school a lot just because we literally did 2 years of in person college
Yeah,
before the pandemic happened. And also during college, we literally maybe had like two classes together
literally.
out of like 2 years. So, like, I can barely recount stories of us being together. I was
Mm.
with my husband more in college than with my twin,
Oh
which
yeah,
which is
definitely.
crazy. So that's why I feel like we keep on talking about high school.
Yeah.
Um, and we worked the same job together, maybe not at the
Mhm.
same location, but yeah, we had
Yeah.
the same job at the
Now
same
that I
time.
think of it, yeah, now that I think of it, I feel like our experience in terms of college was kind of unorthodox. I think everyone was during COVID, especially because, mind you, we were in community college for the first 2 years, which typically isn't what people want to go towards. It's sort of like the last option. I'm like generalizing, but for me, I know going to community college was not my first choice. It was sort of like, what else? What other option do I have? I don't know. Let me just go here. You know what I mean? So, and then even after that, COVID hit, and then I took my gap year. And then now I'm back in school. But Melanie decided to continue. And I decided to, stop to really figure out what it is that I wanted to do. But I mean, like, even then, I feel like we always had each other, even in those few classes we had together in college. It's
Uh,
definitely a lot easier because obviously, with like certain like assignments, oh, you need a partner? Okay, let me go with my twin. Oh, you need help studying? All right, let me study with my twin. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So in terms of that, it definitely made things like a lot easier. But I don't know. I definitely like, I'm grateful for the time that we spent together, but I don't necessarily think we needed to spend more time apart because I feel like we had like a healthy attachment. It wasn't like an attachment to where we like sort of struggled when one or the other wasn't like there. I don't think we ever had that kind of like issue in terms of like socializing.
I think it's because like in elementary school, they forced us to not be in the same classroom.
Yeah, and now I see why. Because when I was like younger, I would always say like, why do they separate twins? It's kind of stupid. But
Yeah.
no, as an adult, I genuinely get it. You want them to develop their own sense of like self.
Yeah.
And to not depend on another person to like, do things and whatnot. It's kind of like the parent. Like obviously you're gonna need to learn how to spend time without them because you're gonna be a grown up and you can't be attached by the hip to the parent. So what makes you think you can do with the sibling? Like it's not good for you in the long run. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I
No, it's fine.
definitely want to put a disclaimer. Community college is great. Please look into the financial benefits of a community college. You can literally get your associate's degree and get jobs with a higher pay by saying you have an associate's degree.
Honestly, no, it's thank you for clarifying.
You're not, when you jump into a university, you have to wait 4 years until you can get a decent paying job, and you have to work retail for all those 4 years until you're done. Associate's degree, you can get something by saying you have an associate's degree, and you don't have to work at Walmart for 2 more years.
I mean, but yeah, like we're not like putting down anyone that obviously works in retail because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But if you do have like that ability to go to college and stuff like that, definitely consider community college. For me, I kind of wanted like that, like picture perfect college experience where you like go out and you're a part of like these groups and you go to parties and stuff. And financially speaking and in terms of like logistics, that was just not going to benefit me at all. And I do agree that having an associate is better than waiting 4 years to just get an entry level job for sure. I
Right.
think for the both of us, it definitely worked out, especially in the fields that we're in currently. It's just something that ended up like helping us in the end rather than like causing everything to be stagnant. Because you're right. I feel like if anything, if we did 4 year college, you would probably be at a job that was a little bit more entry level. Whereas for me, I would definitely be like in retail or something like that. So I do agree with you. Like it definitely helped doing like an
Right.
associate. Like I definitely aspire to do a lot. So that's why I feel like my college degree is kind of important. And now that I took that gap year, I'm able to really like figure out what it is that I want to like go towards because yeah, I agree with you. You don't want to work in those places for too long. It's better to build your own thing. But moving along, the point that we have afterwards is being each other's protector and defending one another from anyone, especially in school. Again, bringing up school, I feel like in terms of like issues of conflict, I'm going to be very honest. I feel like the moments where we were like bothered by someone, it was usually, I feel like we were both targeted. In my opinion, I feel like it was rarely like one or the other. It's usually, oh, if I have a bone to pick with Melissa, then it's with Melanie too. If I have a bone to pick with Melanie, it's with Melissa too.
Listen, no one had a bone to pick with me.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely were a little bit more like, I don't know. I feel like you definitely had a little bit more like bite to your like, like your energy and like backup, you know what I mean? Like you had more boundaries. Whereas for me, I was definitely like a little bit too nice in terms of like the things that I would allow people to do. It's another good video talking about boundaries. But yeah, I definitely learned my lesson a lot, especially just from observing Melanie, like the way she would like sort of like put people in their place without putting them in their place in a way that's like embarrassing. I think energetically you could tell when Melanie's like, all right, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Don't continue. Whereas for me, I'm just like, okay, in like a joking manner. And I feel like I've calmed down with that. I feel like I've been able to put my foot down recently. I think being in the real world with like actual, like, so dealing with conflicts that do require you to like sort of defend yourself or defend others, it definitely like allowed me to feel like I'm able to protect you or protect myself if the situation calls for it. But just out of curiosity, do you feel like there've been times where you necessarily didn't go about defending you or even me or the both of us in the right way, or if you felt like you've ever like dropped the ball and stuff like that in terms of like being there for one another? I don't know.
Good question. I'd want to say that I don't regret my experiences with defending each other, but there's definitely been like consequences, like getting the police involved, and it's like being scared that like you're ruining someone else's life, but then also knowing that that's the right thing to do for your own safety. So yeah, in that regards, it really beat me up at that time, but now I like don't regret it, because if you're trying to like mess with me or like my sister and I'm witnessing it, like you really think I'm not gonna do anything? Like,
Yeah.
And this is the real world. You can't just let people stomp all over you, or they will continue to stomp all over you until you're literally, that's the whole point of stomping. You can't let people continue to stomp on you, because listen, when people stomp on you, when you get stomped on, they kill you. So it's like, I'm not gonna have someone try
to stay unalive, because YouTube be kind of like, sensitive.
No, whatever. You can say that. Whatever, You know what I mean.
No, I get it. Definitely. I feel like I agree with you. I think in terms of like being able to protect yourself, like you can't feel guilty about it. Even though if you were to put yourself in the other person's shoes, obviously it wouldn't feel nice to like have people like, tell you to like stop or get like what you mentioned, like authorities involved. But you have to do what you have to do in order to like protect yourself and like sleep in peace at night. And even for your own self-worth and your self-esteem, I feel like the longer that you let people like mess with you like that, it makes you feel like you're not worthy of respect, which later in the end just messes with you even more. So I mean, for me personally, I feel like I'm not gonna say I've obviously dropped the ball, but I feel like there's times where I definitely could have done more, but because I didn't know better, I didn't do better. But obviously with age, you clearly learn like what to do. In terms of like conflicts where it's like I've never experienced this before, I definitely like try to think a little bit more before I act, because obviously I think I mentioned this before. It's like when you're older, you have a lot more to lose, so you can't just get up and do something like stupid, because that one thing that you do out of impulse could literally like ruin your life. So that's why I'm always like, even though it kind of annoys me that sometimes I tend to freeze, I need to be grateful, because some people don't know how to freeze, and then they do something that could like set them back for years. Like whether it's like they get aggressive or they say something extremely like out of line and someone records it. Like that's what I mean. Like I think I'm glad that I'm able to have like sort of like that calmness, or like that sense of like, no, Melissa, digest what happened and then act accordingly. Don't do anything stupid. And I feel like it also has to do with the way we were raised. Like, like you sit nicely, you act proper, you don't yell, you don't scream, you say yes ma'am, yes sir, like very proper, like, because obviously like our parents are like slightly more traditional, so they were kind of like on top of us in terms of like how to act in public. And I feel like it actually kind of paid off, because I feel like in terms of like the times where I do need to defend myself or even you or anybody else that I'm with, I'm able to like sort of like keep calm and then like act accordingly.
Right. I think definitely I would I guess observe our older sister in the way that she would like protect us with like, especially like, when you're younger, adults think that they can talk to you a certain way, like stranger adults think that they can talk to you a certain way. So our older sister, she will put those adults in their place as a teenager too, to not mess with us. So I mean, adults sometimes please don't correct anyone that is not your child. Find the parent. I think find the parent.
Yeah. Honestly, no, I'm so serious. I think sometimes, especially when you're younger, I think adults tend to assume that you're like dumb or you're not able to speak up for
Mhm.
yourself. And I'm sort of glad that if we weren't able to, we had an older sister, especially with, I feel like even in middle school, when like the older kids would try to like say something to us, it's like, no. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you would have to like, sort of figure out who could defend you in cases like that. Because in terms of like dealing with people that are older with you, whether it be like older kids or adults, I feel like it's always good to have like an older person speak to them as well to like speak
Yeah.
up for us at that age. I think we definitely benefited from having her.
I think it's because also our older sister saw our father speak up for us. And
Yeah.
I would definitely say that my father and whatever, I guess mommy and everyone has like in our household, everyone like made sure that we weren't effed around with.
Yeah.
Like at the doctor's office, like
Yo, low
going
key, I feel like we had security guards our whole life, man.
yeah, literally
Guard
like having
dogs everywhere.
I guess because we were young, we were like the babies, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, literally everywhere. The doctor's office, the gym,
Yo, now that I think
the
about it, we
market,
really had a lot of attention geared
the
towards
park.
us. Yeah. Like we really were like protected, like on some real like security guard type stuff. Like there was always someone there to like go to if like we needed help with
Right. And
something.
then I guess that's how like I learned it to like do that for like each other, for my mom, like my people, and then like also for like our descendants, like it'll just carry on. I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like for me, I'm still learning, but who isn't, honestly? But yeah, so that's actually all the points we have for pros. That was part one. Melanie, would you like to put any like last comments or anything?
I enjoyed this topic, sister. I'm looking forward for the cons. It
Oh my
might be a
gosh,
little bit
same.
interesting.
Same.
Might be a little bit longer, might be a little bit shorter. We'll see.
Who knows? But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this topic. Obviously, there are probably a lot more pros, but these are the main ones that we both like sort of agreed upon. But yeah, being a twin is cool, people. So
If anyone like agrees or disagrees or like has extra pointers and like you're a twin or like based off of things that you've seen, hanging around with twins, having twin siblings, having twin friends, let us know. It's cool to have different perspectives from other people who didn't have our experience.
yeah,
Whether that's like class wise, racial wise.
yeah, definitely.
Maybe you live in a different geographical area. Let us know.
Yeah, that will definitely be interesting. Definitely let us know about your experience or even your opinion, obviously in a respectful way. But yeah, definitely let us know in the comments and leave any topics that you would like me or us to discuss in the future. I definitely enjoyed making this video. And Melanie, thank you again for being such an amazing guest on my little cute YouTube channel and my podcast. Actually, let me not say little cute YouTube channel. I should say my groundbreaking, record breaking, absolutely beautiful, grandiose, stupendous podcast. Yeah, I'm putting that in here. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys in part 2.